I spent 32 years as a nurse. 32 years of double shifts, aching feet, cold vending machine dinners, and holding strangers together while their worlds fell apart. I had cleaned blood off my scrubs at 2 in the morning. I had delivered bad news to families who collapsed into my arms before their loved one's hospital bed even cooled. I had seen addiction, grief, violence, miracles. Life had trained me to survive almost anything. Almost. Because nothing in my medical career prepared me for the moment my own son looked at me across my dining room and treated me like I was something stuck to the bottom of his shoe. Thanksgiving used to mean warmth in my house. Turkey roasting before sunrise. Frank Sinatra humming softly through the kitchen radio. Butter melting into mashed potatoes while cinnamon candles burned on the windowsill. After my husband Jack died 6 years ago, I tried to keep traditions alive. Not because holidays made the grief smaller, because routines helped me breathe through it. This year was supposed to be simple. My son Tyler and his wife Brooke had insisted they would handle Thanksgiving. Their exact words. "Relax for once, Mom, we got this." I should have known better. Handling it apparently meant inviting 11 of their friends, buying overpriced charcuterie boards, and turning my quiet family holiday into some Instagram version of gratitude. Meanwhile, my version of relaxing looked suspiciously like scrubbing bathrooms, grocery shopping, cooking a 20-pound turkey, paying the electric bill, and cleaning wine glasses nobody else bothered washing. Same as always. Because for the last 3 years, my son and his wife had been living in my house. Rent-free, bill-free, responsibility-free. It had started after Tyler lost his marketing job during layoffs. Temporary, he said. Just a few months. They needed help getting back on their feet. I was his mother. Of course I opened my door. That's what mothers do. But temporary turned into seasons. Then years. And somewhere along the way, helping quietly transformed into funding an entire lifestyle nobody thanked me for. I paid utilities, groceries, internet, car insurance just until next month, emergency credit card balances, streaming services I didn't even know how to use. And every single time I thought about drawing boundaries, I remembered the little boy who used to crawl into my lap during thunderstorms. The boy who once made me a crooked Mother's Day card using macaroni and too much glue. Love has a dangerous way of making excuses for disrespect. By Thanksgiving afternoon, my body was running on caffeine and muscle memory. The turkey was done. The pies were cooling. My lower back felt like someone had hammered nails into it. So around 4:30, I sat down on my bed. Just 10 minutes. That was all I planned. 10 minutes. But nurses spend decades learning how to fall asleep anywhere. Break rooms, waiting areas, cars. So naturally, I passed out. When I opened my eyes again, the room was dark. For a second, I didn't know where I was. Then laughter drifted upstairs. Loud laughter. Glasses clinking. Music playing. My stomach tightened. I grabbed my phone. 6:52 p.m. Nobody had called me. Nobody checked on me. Not one knock on the door. Slowly, I stood up. My knees protested. My shoulder throbbed with the old injury I got lifting patients years ago. Downstairs, voices echoed through the house. My house. The smell of wine, roasted meat, and expensive perfume hit me halfway down the stairs. I reached the dining room doorway and froze. The table was nearly destroyed. Empty plates. Half-eaten pie. Turkey carcass picked clean. People leaned back in chairs, laughing through full mouths. Every seat occupied. Except one. Mine. Every conversation stopped the second somebody noticed me standing there. You know that strange silence that falls over a room right after laughter? That sharp, awkward silence where everyone suddenly remembers their manners? Yeah, that kind. 11 strangers looked at me. A few smiled politely. A couple looked confused. One woman lowered her wine glass halfway to her mouth, and sitting comfortably at the center of my dining table was my son, Tyler. Laughing, relaxed, not even slightly surprised to see me. Like forgetting his mother existed during Thanksgiving dinner was perfectly normal. My neighbor Susan shifted uncomfortably in her chair. "Oh my God, Dana," she said. "We thought you were eating upstairs." Eating upstairs. The words landed funny in my chest. Like I was a patient on bed rest. Like I belonged somewhere out of sight. Before I could answer, Brooke jumped in with her bright, polished smile. The one she used whenever she wanted to sound sweet while being cruel. "Oh, don't worry," she chirped. "We saved her something." Something. Not a plate. Not dinner. Something. Tyler pushed his chair back. The legs scraped loudly against hardwood. He disappeared into the kitchen. I stood there quietly, my hands still hanging at my sides. Nobody spoke. The refrigerator hummed. Someone coughed into their napkin. A man near the end of the table suddenly became deeply fascinated by his mashed potatoes. Then Tyler walked back in, holding a paper plate. Cheap white paper, already bent in the middle. On it sat cold scraps. Turkey skin, broken stuffing, dry cranberry sauce smeared along the edge. The leftovers people scraped together before cleaning the kitchen. He extended it toward me casually, like handing food to somebody waiting behind a soup kitchen line. "Here you go, Mom." A few nervous chuckles floated around the table. Brooke sipped her wine. Tyler smiled. Then he said the sentence that changed everything. "Kitchen leftovers for the house sponsor." House sponsor. Not Mom. Not Dana. House sponsor. Like I was some exhausted corporate account keeping their lifestyle alive. The room reacted exactly how cowardly rooms usually react to humiliation. Nobody corrected him. Nobody challenged him. People just stared downward and waited for the uncomfortable moment to pass. My face felt hot. But not from shame. From clarity. Pure. Sudden. Painfully clean clarity. 3 years. 3 years of grocery receipts. Late-night pharmacy runs. Gas money. Dental emergencies. Can you spot us until Friday? Can you help with one payment? We're struggling right now. 3 years. And this was who they had decided I was. Not family. Function. I looked down at the paper plate. The turkey skin had gone rubbery. Grease soaked through the bottom. One careless movement and the whole thing would collapse. Funny. It suddenly felt symbolic. Tyler was still holding it out. Waiting. Expecting embarrassment. Maybe tears. Maybe the usual soft-hearted mother response. The one where I smoothed things over to keep peace alive a little longer. Instead, I took the plate carefully. The room relaxed slightly. Wrong move. They thought surrender was happening. I walked calmly past Tyler. Past the dining table. Into the kitchen. Opened the trash can. Dropped the entire plate inside. Silence. Heavy silence. The kind that pulls oxygen out of walls. When I turned back around, Tyler looked stunned. Brooke's smile had disappeared. Good. I wiped my hands slowly on a dish towel. Then I looked directly at my son. My voice stayed calm. Years in emergency medicine teach you something important. Panic belongs to people who've lost control. I had just found mine. You're right, I said softly. This arrangement has gone on long enough. Confusion crossed his face. What arrangement? I met his eyes. This one. I gestured gently toward the crowded table. The one where my home became your stage set. Nobody moved. Even the music suddenly felt too loud. Tyler laughed awkwardly. Oh, come on, Mom, don't be dramatic. Dramatic. Interesting word. People love using it when they're uncomfortable being confronted by consequences. I untied my apron, folded it neatly, set it across the kitchen counter. Then I walked toward the staircase. Not rushed. Not emotional. Just done. Behind me, Brooke forced a laugh. Seriously, over a joke? I paused halfway up the stairs. Without turning around, I said quietly, Funny thing about jokes. The house had gone silent enough to hear my breathing. They're supposed to make everyone laugh. Then I kept walking. My bedroom door closed softly behind me. No slamming. No tears. No breakdown. Just quiet. I sat on the edge of my bed staring at my hands. These hands had started IVs during hurricanes, compressed chests during cardiac arrests, signed discharge papers for patients who got second chances. Strong hands. Tired hands. Hands that had built a life from overtime shifts and sacrifice. And suddenly, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Not heartbreak. Permission. Permission to stop carrying people who mistook love for unlimited access. Outside, rain tapped gently against the bedroom window. Downstairs, voices slowly returned. Muted laughter. Forced conversation. Cutlery clinking. The party continuing. Because people will eat dessert 5 minutes after witnessing emotional cruelty. That's just human nature. I stood up. Walked to my desk. Opened my laptop. The familiar glow lit the dark room. Then I clicked open a spreadsheet labeled Household Expenses. And for the first time in 3 years, I wasn't opening it to manage the damage. I was opening it to end it. UI stared at the spreadsheet for nearly an hour. Rows, dates, dollar amounts. groceries, utilities, insurance payments, streaming subscriptions I didn't use, emergency loans never repaid, gas money, phone bills, furniture, food delivery charges somehow appearing during months they claimed they were barely surviving. 3 years. The total sat at the bottom of the screen like a quiet verdict. 76,114. I leaned back slowly. Not shocked. Just tired? The kind of tired that reaches deeper than sleep. Outside, rain streaked down the window. Downstairs, somebody laughed again. That sound settled something inside me. Decision. By midnight, I had changed passwords. Bank access. Credit cards. Online accounts. Every automatic payment connected to my money. Every door they didn't realize I had been holding open. Then I packed one small overnight bag. Not because I planned to run. Because I needed one uninterrupted night to remember what peace sounded like. The motel room smelled like cheap detergent and stale coffee. It was perfect. Nobody asking where the clean towels were. Nobody complaining about Wi-Fi. Nobody treating my kindness like infrastructure. Just silence. Beautiful, ordinary silence. The next morning, my phone exploded. 12 missed calls. 3 voicemails. 1 text from Tyler. Mom, call me now. Another from Brooke. Your card got declined. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. I actually laughed. First genuine laugh I'd had in months. By Monday afternoon, I came home. The house felt tense before I even opened the front door. Tyler met me in the kitchen. Eyes bloodshot. Jaw tight. Mom, what the hell is going on? I set my purse down carefully. What's going on, I said evenly, is that my retirement account is no longer funding 2 healthy adults. Brooke folded her arms immediately. Oh my God, so this is punishment over Thanksgiving? No, I said quietly. This is consequence after 3 years. Tyler threw his hands up. You're overreacting. There it was. The familiar script. Deny. Deflect. Minimize. I reached into my bag and placed a folder on the counter. Printed expenses. Bank statements. Payment records. Receipts. Evidence. Nurse habits die hard. Tyler flipped through pages. His confidence started slipping by page 4. By page 10, he wasn't yelling anymore. Brooke looked pale. You tracked all this? Yes. Silence. Heavy. Uncomfortable. Honest. I looked directly at my son. Not angrily. Just clearly. Do you remember your first apartment? He frowned slightly. What? Your first apartment. Tiny kitchen. Broken heater. You called me because you couldn't figure out how to reset the circuit breaker. His shoulders lowered a little. I remember. I drove across town after a 12-hour shift. He looked away. You were scared. My voice softened. You were my kid. Of course I came. The kitchen grew quiet. Rain tapped softly against the windows. But somewhere along the way, I said, help stopped being temporary. I took a breath. And love turned into permission. Nobody spoke. Then I said the hardest sentence of my life. You have 30 days to move out. Brooke exploded first. Are you serious? Tyler stared at me. Actually stared. Like he was seeing me clearly for the first time. Mom, his voice cracked. You'd really do this? I held his gaze. Yes. Not because I stopped loving him. Because I finally remembered how to love myself too. For a long moment, nobody moved. Then Tyler sat down heavily at the kitchen table. The anger had drained out of him. All that remained was reality. The thing consequences eventually force people to meet. The next 2 weeks felt strange. Quiet. Boxes appeared. Closets emptied. Arguments happened behind closed doors. I stayed out of them. Some battles don't require spectators. On their final morning, a moving truck sat in my driveway under gray November skies. Brooke carried boxes without looking at me. Tyler moved slower. Quieter. Older somehow. When the truck was nearly loaded, he approached the porch. Hands shoved into his jacket pockets. Cold wind moved through the yard. Mom! I looked up. His eyes were red around the edges. Not dramatic. Not theatrical. Just human. I was awful to you. The words came out rough. Unpracticed. Real. I said nothing. He swallowed hard. I kept telling myself we needed help. A long pause. Then I stopped noticing what it was costing you. Something tightened painfully inside my chest. Because there he was. My son. Not fixed. Not redeemed. Just finally honest. I'm sorry. 3 words. Late. but real. I looked at him for a long moment. Then I nodded once. Not absolution. Not punishment. Just acknowledgement. I hope you build a good life, Tyler. His eyes filled. Mine nearly did too. But some love stories between parents and children aren't clean. Sometimes love survives boundaries. Sometimes it survives distance. Sometimes it survives consequences. And sometimes it has to learn a completely different shape. The truck pulled away an hour later. The house fell silent. Real silence. Not tense silence. Peaceful silence. I stood in my kitchen alone. Sunlight touched the countertop. My coffee cup steamed gently in my hands. No noise. No demands. No walking on emotional eggshells. Just home. My home. That evening, I ordered takeout from my favorite little Italian place. Extra garlic bread. Because nobody was there to complain about carbs. I sat by the window eating warm pasta and watching rain roll down the glass. And for the first time in years, the loneliness I feared never arrived. Something else did. Relief. Quiet. Freedom. I thought about all those years in nursing. All the wounds I helped people survive. Funny thing is, nobody teaches you how to recognize the moment you're the one bleeding, or how brave healing can look when it starts with a locked door, a boundary, and saying, enough. I raised my wine glass toward the empty room, softly, almost smiling, to second chances. This time, I meant my own.